PDP demands the resignation of the Central Bank of Nigeria Governor, Mr. Emefiele. After extensive review of the abysmally poor state of the Nigerian economy in the last 5 years, the People's Democratic Party asked the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, to step aside and allow more competent and less partisan hand to manage the affairs of our apex bank so as to rescue our economy from going comatose. The PDP is constrained in making this demand, but given the inability of President Muhammadu Buhari to be decisive on matters of state, we are bound to demand Mr. Emefiele's resignation to save our fiscal system from peril. Our position is further predicated on the fact that a CBN governor ought to have the competence and courage to offer and implement sound economic policies and check financial excesses, particularly in a situation where the president is not demonstrating a capacity to effectively run a national economy or check corruption and financial recklessness as being witnessed in our country under President Muhammadu Buhari. It is very distressing that the CBN under Emefiele has allowed itself to be bogged down by the repression, corruption, and partisanship that pervade the Buhari administration, with the resultant plunging of our nation into an avoidable economic recession and untold hardship in the last 5 years. It is frightening that under the CBN management, our nation is going insolvent, with the federal government now being unable to fulfill some of its major statutory obligations that enhance smooth running of governance. The PDP also finds it shocking and very disappointing that the CBN abandoned its statutory roles and has begun to engage in vindictive clampdown on accounts of private businessmen, and had refused to leave such clampdown despite the ruling of the Court of Competent Jurisdiction in that regard. It is scandalous that the CBN is also engaging in punitive freezing of bank accounts of Nigerians for participating in the genuine and peaceful NSAS protests, at a time it should be galvanizing efforts for solutions to the myriads of economic challenges facing our nation presently. Such partisan action by the CBN, which had been widely rejected as an act of victimization to economically suffocate Nigerians for calling for good governance, respect for human rights, end to police brutality, and manifest lie to lawlessness, is already threatening the stability of our banking sector. Nigerians, in their objection to the action of the CBN, are already poised to close their account and boycott financial transactions with some of our commercial banks over the freezing of their accounts. The PDP stresses that our nation cannot afford another round of restiveness, particularly relating to banking and the finance sector. As such, will not augur well with our struggling national economy at this critical time. Our party therefore holds that instead of engaging in actions that do not engender hope at this critical time, the CBN is rather expected to assist government by coming up with policies and programs that will urgently revamp our productive sector, reposition our economy, and provide jobs, employment, and gainful economic participation for millions of youths across the country. Furthermore, a responsive central bank should by now be interested in offering urgent strategies that will blow up the value of our naira, which has fallen to a devastating 476 naira to a dollar, thereby wrecking the purchasing power of our citizens under the watch of the governor of CBN, Mr. Godwin Emefiele. The CBN should rather be thinking of ways to improve on our gross domestic produce, curb rising inflation, check the deplorable depletion of our foreign reserves, end the reckless borrowing by the Buhari administration, a situation that has produced a debt burden of 31 trillion, as well as the ongoing mortgaging of our sovereignty to foreign interests. In fact, under this CBN, with a projected 5.20 trillion naira borrowing already proposed in the 2021 budget, our nation's debt will hit a calamitous 36.2 trillion naira. It is needless to say at this juncture that this will further plunge us into a bottomless pit of economic depression. The PDP holds that the pandering to partisan and parochial action by the CBN is also responsible for the erosion of investors' confidence and the death of foreign direct investment into our country, leading to a crisis situation in our economy. Our party therefore asserts that there is no way our economy can be pulled out of the woods under the prevailing situation, where the central bank, under the leadership of Godwin Emefiele, has failed to demonstrate the capacity to initiate, articulate, and implement policies that will lift the economy, particularly under a manifestly incompetent, parochial, and corrupt administration as we have today in our country. I thank you all. Question?